Good morning. Welcome to the JP8 report, episode 443. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the JP8 report. Welcome to all the Graham Allen refugees out there looking for them that they are not there because they took the week off. Okay. But I'll fill in for them as much as possible. I don't have videos. I just talk a lot. But this is the JPA report. If you are wondering, I do a lot of politics, so that means there's a lot of reading involved and a little bit of discussion. But that's me, okay? It's my style of podcast. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. All right. If you like what you hear, click on the little bell beside where it says the JPA report, toggle down, and click the follow button and be a follower of the JPA report. All right. The deal about the thumbs up, like I tell a lot, if you're going to visit a podcast on Rumble, give them a thumbs up for it. No matter how long you stay on there, it helps the algorithm. It helps them out. Matter of fact, I was like looking for a podcast this morning. Like, man, I ain't heard Graham in a few days, and because I usually get indicator that they've gone live, right? Or it's the posting, 24-hour posting. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So I went over to Graham, right? They announced Friday. See, I missed Friday's episode because some other stuff, but I missed Friday's episode. And I went and was watching it, and he said, "Oh, we're taking all next week, all this week, all next week off because we need a break." So I did not know. I was like, "What about Monday, Tuesday?" Yeah, I ain't heard nothing, but that's why. All right. But all y'all refugees are welcome to stick around and watch a little bit what's going on. I appreciate it. And like I said, follow the podcast if you would like. I would really appreciate it. Tips are appreciated also. Likes are greatly appreciated. And then, like we have Covite for Life that's in the in the podcast right now. Good friend of mine, Navy veteran. And then usually I get Scott Scray in here and retired Rob 53's in here. I usually get Luke in here, but Luke's on vacation. He's having a hard life in Branson, Missouri right now. So when y'all see him on here next week, tell him, hey, congrats on being able to go to Branson. But yeah, so a lot going on, lots of news out there. I'm just buying time for people to flow in. Okay, so I did that. So we'll do the America 250 real quick, and I'll go back to what I want to start with. America 250, General Washington dispatched to the Second Continental Congress that Lord Howe's British Peace Commission was a trick in order to deceive the American public on the true motives of the British Empire. So he was telling the Second Continental Congress, sort of like how the Iranians are right now. They're all talk, no action. Okay, that's exactly how you could actually refer to in the description. Okay, let's see. We'll do the armament real quick. The armament shop, whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the armament shop is Copper's Cove's premier source of all things shooting. Browse a wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? JC can handle those classes both online and in person, along with the range to go with it. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the armament shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text 254-560-2300 2023, or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety is our priority. All right. So thank you for that. And hold on. Yeah, there we go. All right. The Iran update. This is what we have. President Trump will attend a dignified transfer this morning at Dover Air Force Base at 10 a.m. Central. That'd be 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Agreement was met yesterday with Saudi Arabia on civilian nuclear power deal. Last night was the 11th night of airstrikes against Iran. Last night's airstrikes lasted about an hour, which means they're probably ramping up for something serious. That's their fault, right? Bulgaria backs the U.S. refueling efforts. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, tells Senator Van Hollen the Iran war has been ongoing for the last 47 years. CENTCOM has redirected 8 ships and disabled 1 since the latest blockade went into effect. The Iran war has cost $37.5 billion. The Secretary of War said that would be Pete Hegseth again. We can reach Pickaxe Mountain. And he stopped after that. So that's probably a very classified statement after that. Okay. They bomb it. All of a sudden, the workers in there say, "Where are my 72 virgins?" They don't exist. Sorry, guy. Iran is at its weakest point since the beginning of the conflict on February 28th. That's when the Ayatollah Khomeini died, and his son, which we've never seen in videos since then, is in power. The British say its bases are open to the United States, including Diego Garcia. That's in the middle of the Indian Ocean, if you didn't know. And then Iraq, Kuwait, and Bahrain were all attacked yesterday, including one of Kuwait's desalination plants. The Dow Jones last night closed at 52,224.64. It was up 385.38 points. West Texas Intermediate Oil, about an hour ago, was at $87.45 a barrel. And Brent crude oil, which is the world's benchmark when it comes to oil prices, Brent was at $94.60 a barrel. All right. Announcements. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, Pints and Politics at Ranchers in Gatesville at 6 p.m. That's with Chip Howe. It's at the corner of the major intersection of Highway 84 and Highway 36 in Gatesville. And like it says on the chart here, Gracie the giraffe is supposed to be the master of the ceremonies. We'll see. I'll die if someone comes in dressed as a giraffe. All right, next. Saturday morning at 11 a.m. in Coppers Cove is at 1802 Martin Luther King Drive, which is Trinity Worship Center, is the Coryell County Republican Women. That's a monthly meeting on Saturday at 11 a.m. And they're going to have a guest speaker named Dr. Mark Fulmer. He's going to be talking about Islamicism. All right. Next announcement is for the 27th of July, West Side Conservative Coalition in Harker Heights at Papa's Cafe at 6 p.m. The chair is Dennis Faulkner. The next one is July 28th. Coryell County Republican Party. Our chair is Norm Mitchell. I'm a precinct chair. We will be meeting at 6 p.m. in Gatesville at the junction of Route 36. And a major topic discussion is our annual fish fry, which is going to happen in September. All right. I don't know who our guest host is going to be. And then the last thing is um, Pints and Politics on the 6th of August. This is the preliminary announcement for it. It's going to be at the Dead Fish Grill. It'll be at 6 p.m. over by Belton Dam. All right. So those are our announcements. Okay. So before I get into the election stuff, uh, last night I went to a city council meeting here in Coppers Cove. Ever since I left being on the board of trustees, I do go to city council meetings to stay actively involved with what's going on in my city. Used to, I just watched it on YouTube and stuff, but I got more and more involved. So for the last 6 years, they've been on our north side is where a lot of our growth is, right? They've been talking to this one developer about building a 1,200 house subdivision. That's huge, right? That's 24. That's probably almost between 4,000 and 5,000 people will go up there, right? Um, they developed a plan, a workaway plan to be able to get everything going. Um, they were going to transfer the certificate of necessity, that'd be the water rights, from it was going to be transferred from Kempner over to Coppers Cove, and streets will be made and stuff. But what happened over the last year, I think it was, or a couple, something like that. Well, they insisted that the developer work on Lutheran Church Road uh, because of all the traffic that would be coming in there. Well, if you don't know, because most of you that watch this, the roads are already torn up there, and they were insisting on road improvements as part of the developer's plan to be able to start putting these roads in. Well, it's the city's responsibility to put said roads in and to maintain said roads because they're in city property, right? It's the same thing down there where I live at on Big Divide Road. Uh, it looks like our roads are going to start. You see them start like little speed bumps all over the place because they're swelling, right? But they are trying to insist on developers maintain these roads in which we already pay $10 a month for these roads for street maintenance. So we get like $4,200 a year to do road maintenance, and I know it costs more than $4,200 a year to do roads. We're like in debt by like $40 million to be able to repair these bad boys at, right? But what I'm saying is, it's the responsibility of the developer to do everything within the subdivision, everything, roads, sewer pipes, water lines, interconnects, everything, right? But what they were doing, it was going to cost this developer like upwards of 1.2 million more dollars to develop this, and they were telling city council last night it's not economically viable to do this. So I tell you what we'll do. If you don't approve this, we'll still build a subdivision without all these extra improvements, and we won't annex it into the city. So you're like, okay, I mean, yeah, this is a lot of people are national on this. So the ramifications of not annexing this 300 acre parcel of land into the city to build 1,200 homes, third of an acre lots, right? What they said, we won't annex it into the city, and you'll lose all that property tax that's going to come in, and the city's begging for money anyway, and so they're going to lose millions of dollars a year on this development. And the developer said, we'll just make 1 acre lot developments and stay inside the county and stay inside the subdivision allotment in the county, and the city won't get nothing out of it. And you know what happened? The city voted them down 6 votes to 1. Really? So our right-leaning city council just uh, just thumbed their nose at a developer that was going to bring more homes, right, and upwards to about $2 million a year to our county through property taxes, because they wouldn't invest some of our money into road maintenance and to develop roads and try to stick it to the developer again. But you go over here on my side of town, this developer is not having to redo all the roads and stuff, but he's building up on 115 units and about to build another subdivision right beside it. But he's not being required to do the roads. What gives here? That is serious. That's why I brought the paper in, so I wouldn't forget to talk about it. And a couple other things to stay in history, since I do America 250. President Lincoln presented the Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, presented to his cabinet the preliminary draft of the Emancipation Proclamation. Republicans freed the slaves, not the Democrats. Just remember that, you Democrats out there, some of y'all that watch. And John Dillinger was killed in 1934, and in 1937. The United States Senate rejected President Franklin Roosevelt's proposal to add more justices to the Supreme Court. There you go, right? Let me put this over here to the side. All right, so I know. And then I did an open records request. See, I can't even get, I'm already 17 minutes in here. That's all right. So it's filing period right now in the city council and for the school board, right? So, that reminds me to do the next one. It was like, well, I know one person had filed because I was told she was going to file on her first day. It's the third day, right? The day is. So last night at the city council, I asked a couple members of the city council, and they said, well, we don't know where they post them at after they file. So we go over and we talk to the city secretary, and she says, oh, I only post campaign finance reports. Really? So in Texas, if you sign the 1080 statement, which means you agree not to raise or spend more than $1,080 during your campaign cycle, you don't have to file a campaign finance report. So it means you can go anonymous the whole time, right? So she says, well, I don't post those. I forward them to the PIO for the city. Okay, well, fine and dandy. So I go over and talk to Kevin Keller, and he says, I ain't got nothing. Nothing's been forwarded to me. I'm like, really? Yeah, because he was out of the office yesterday. So like, okay, what is going on? So I go talk to the lady that filed for city council, and I said, what seat did you file for? And she says, I'm not telling nobody, because I want to keep that to myself until I need to produce that. I'm like, what? And she said, yeah, I'm not telling no one what seat I'm running for, because we have seat 6 and seat 7 on the city council open. So what that does is that she doesn't want to let other people know, because she doesn't want people to file against her, which is bogus. I don't know who gave her that advice, but as a Republican talking to another Republican, so you're going to get filed against. You might as well make it public knowledge. There was another Republican. He filed in the school for the school board, and he blatantly put his out as I'm running for CCSD place 7. If he can do it, she can do it. You shouldn't be afraid. If you're afraid to run against people in politics, you should not run in the first place itself, right? So I did the right thing. I did an open records request at 6:20 this morning, right before I came in here to do the JP's morning brief. I did open records requesting for all council filings from Saturday through yesterday. And then tomorrow, I'm going to do one from last Saturday through Wednesday. And then on Friday, I'm going to do one from Saturday all the way to Thursday. And I'm going to keep it going until they realize I mean business, because transparency is the way to go. You cannot, see, I haven't even got into national news yet. They already blocked all comments off the Facebook pages, so nobody can even comment on anything the city says. I can see now they're probably after me saying all this because it's going to get leaked back to the city administration, right? And the city manager said, well, we're going to block citizens forum. I can see that coming too. I can play this game. I'm tired. Like Dan Bongino says, cutesy time is over. And you can't fix stupid. So I'm going to fix it. Fix it. We deserve the truth. We deserve the open, transparent city government. We demand it on the national level. We need it on the city level. All right? It's your money. It's your government. You deserve it. Right? They want to launch restrictions on all of us, what we can and can't do, what we can build and what we can destroy, and everything, right? So they can be open and transparent to us. All I wanted to know was where this person had filed, and they wouldn't give it to me. So I'm gonna, if I got to do it the hard way, I'll do it the hard way because I'm gonna make them do some work. All right. Hopefully the right people heard this, right? All right. Let's get into the news. All right. Arizona primary was last night. All right. Arizona primary was last night, and I'm already okay. I missed my opening. So Andy Biggs defeated David Schwartz 70.04 to 17.2. He will be Andy Biggs will be facing off against Katie Hobbs in November for governor. He is, and then over on Congressional District 1, CD1 in Arizona, Jay Feely defeated Chapek 49.4% to 35.2%. They don't have runoff in Arizona. So that ex-football place kicker and sports analyst will be getting into the Congress, which would be good because Burgess Owens over in Utah, he's retiring, and he's a former NFL Hall of Famer, right? But yeah, so Andy Biggs is going against Katie Hobbs. Katie, this is going to be a very good race because the last several attempts with U.S. Senate and the governorship, we've had Republicans that's never been elected to office lose because of inexperience. But Andy Biggs is a congressman right now, and he's chair of the Freedom Caucus, and he knows the ins and outs. He knows where all the bodies are buried, so he can do this. He should get elected. President Trump actually endorsed both of these guys, so 2 more notches on the belt of the president, right? Congratulations to Mr. Feely and Andy Biggs. I hope you'll get elected, right? All right. So we got that. And I might as well do this next one before I do that first one. Dignified transfer is this morning at Dover Air Force Base. I did mention that earlier. It's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern for our fallen U.S. Army soldiers that died in the line of battle in Jordan, Iraq, over the last few days, right? So President Donald Trump will attend a dignified transfer of U.S. service members killed by Iranian attacks during the war on Wednesday, the day. The ceremony is at 11 a.m. Eastern at Dover Air Force Base. The U.S. Army on Tuesday identified Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton from Fayetteville, North Carolina, as the U.S. service member killed while attempting to do a controlled det on an Iranian drone that crashed in Erbil, and it detonated and it killed him. Um, he's 30 years old. He's married. He has a child, a young child. The Army is going to posthumously award him the Purple Heart and Bronze Star Medal and promote him to Staff Sergeant. All right, which is good. And then, and he was an air defense soldier also. I know a lot of air defense soldiers. Let's see. Also, in the dignified transfer is going to be First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan of Ewa Beach, Hawaii, air defense officer. Private Isabel Gonzalez, 19, of Carrollton, Texas. She is air defense soldier also. And then and the other soldier that died during the rocket attack was Sergeant Angel Rampersad of 28 of Ozone Park, New York. And he was the one that they couldn't identify. He was missing. But he was. They identified him. He will be presented in the dignified transfer also. And he was stationed with 1st Bat, 57th Air Defense Regiment, 52nd Army Air Defense Artillery Brigade, 10th Army Air and Missile Command out of Ansbach, Germany. Right. So those four individuals that were killed in action will be returned home for burial, okay? And the President of the United States will be there. Remember their families in prayer, because these people willingly raised their right hand just like I did, but they made the ultimate sacrifice for their country, for our country. All right, so we got those two done. So, wow, phone's like going off big time. Hold on just a second. Okay, so egg on their face. It's a big disgrace, right? So with that title, I had 3 different titles I was working with this morning. I was talking about the dignified transfer. I was talking about Arizona. I was going to go a bigs win big, right? And then I started reading some more and doing some research about some of the articles I'm covering, and one of them is the voter stuff. And these Democrats keep saying, just like the Wizard of Oz, or ignore the guy behind the curtain. There's nothing to see here, right? Which there is, because they're just trying to hide it from us, right? So yesterday, let me go to the article on here. Man, there we go. So after the Democrats starting Thursday night say there were no voting irregularities in our country, if so, it's minuscule and doesn't matter. They're stupid wrong, and you can't fix stupid, right? I can't wait till that shirt comes out. So yesterday, the rookie governor of New Jersey opened her mouth, insert foot. And now the Democrat Party is scrambling to try to fix what just happened. All right. So evidently, she claimed it was a software glitch in New Jersey that allowed 6,600 ineligible people to register to vote, of which 400 of them actually went and voted. I just saw a political race in Morgan's Point. It was 133 to 133, and one vote counts, right? But what if there was 15 people that were registered to vote that wasn't supposed to be registered to vote, and they actually went in there and cast their ballot, and that person won, and they won with a vote, so it's illegal. So yesterday she said there was a software glitch and it was being corrected. But you have 400 people that broke the law and actually voted in an election that were ineligible, but they were already registered through New Jersey for a software glitch. So I got this from Just the News. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill is blaming a software glitch in in the state's motor vehicle system for accidentally registering 6,600 non-citizens to vote. Not just ineligible, but they were non-citizens. Further acknowledged Tuesday that as many as 400 of those foreigners, people that are not from the United States, voted in recent election despite a legal ban on foreigners voting in federal elections. The admission came less than a week after President Trump gave a primetime speech in which none of the local broadcasters even carried, presenting evidence on election vulnerabilities, including hundreds of thousands of non-citizens who made it onto the voter rolls, spy agency concerns about voting machine security, and Chinese effort to obtain American voter data. Sherrill was among the Democrats who derided the speech, but on Tuesday she had to reverse course and acknowledge the problem with non-citizens registering and voting in her state. The applicants correctly indicated they were not U.S. citizens, according to Sherrill, but the system accidentally recorded them as citizens. How do you accidentally mark them as a citizen when they checked the block that said they are a non-citizen, right? These individuals answered no when asked on a keypad whether they were U.S. citizens when applying for driver license and identification cards, but through no fault of their own, the system registered them anyway. Our preliminary analysis showed fewer than 400 individuals who were newly registered for the first time because they error voted. The governor said they were registered as Democrats, Republicans, and unaffiliated voters and were scattered across the state. I am appalled by the reckless failures that allowed the system to happen and the lack of transparency shown by those in charge at the time. They were all good for nothing Democrats, Miss Governor. Your former governor controlled the state for 8 years and let this happen. So I would like, just like Vince said this morning, just about an hour ago, what is the breakdown of the people that were registered to vote? Were they registered as Democrats, Republicans, Green, Libertarian? What was the breakdown? And what was the breakdown of the people that voted? Were they Republicans or Democrats or whatever? That would be a really good statement to make, because I would like to know. I would like to know. So foreigners, and were these 400 people prosecuted for voting? Because you do know you can't vote unless you're a U.S. citizen. But they voted anyway, right? The caveat to this one is right here. So even Jake Tapper, even though most of the time we can't rely on anything he says, but Jake Tapper took a swipe at Democrats who have long rejected concerns about illegal immigrants voting in elections following Tuesday's stunning revelation out of New Jersey. Democrat New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill announced that thousands of non-citizens had mistakenly been added to voter rolls. She said 6,600 were never eligible to vote, were registered due to a serious software error. Yeah, okay, sure. And Jimmy Hoffa is still alive. Yeah, sure. But this was done between June 2023 and June 2024, as Patrick Murphy was still, is it Patrick Murphy? Was still governor of New Jersey. She also revealed that fewer than 400 actually voted. While covering the breaking news, Tapper acknowledged that the recent development does not benefit Democrats. He's quoted as, "This is not good for Democrats' arguments that there is no such thing as undocumented immigrants voting." He ought to get the statement of the day. Here's your sign type deal. Unbelievable that they allowed non-citizens to vote, and they need to be prosecuted for breaking the law. And if they voted in a federal election, they need to be federally charged for committing a felony, right? I do believe it's a felony to illegally vote, all right? Um, So I wanted to bring that to your attention. All these disguised following people, all the Republicans are just, all they're doing is just, why did my phone go off? Why did my phone go off? Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back live. Um, you know, Illegal voting never happens because it's non-existent. And if it does, it's no big deal because it's like one or two people. One or two votes does matter, right? Like in that election I just mentioned to you, right? I had a friend of mine sitting on city council right beside me. He won by 19 votes back in 2015. 19 votes between him and Azita Taylor. They kept her off the city council. Yeah, seriously, right? All right. So let's carry on. It's already 8:36. I'm going to run out of time here, but that's all right. I needed to get that off my chest, big time. Hey, don't forget, people, if you're watching, click that follow button. Remember, bell. Click on the bell. Scroll down. Click the follow button, and give me a thumbs up, like, please. And if you're proud to be an American, put an American flag in the chat. Did it go? Okay, there it goes. All right, cool. All right. So yesterday in the Senate, uh, Jay Clayton's nomination for ODNI went forward to the Senate Intelligence Committee. They debated a little bit more and took a vote. And Jay Clayton's nomination passed 9 votes to 8. Now it proceeds to the full Senate, hopefully before August's vacation time for the Senate. We pay them $176,000 a year to work, and they go on vacation all the time. The deal about, if you didn't know about the August recess they do in Congress, that's because Washington, D.C. was built on a swamp, and it was oppressive to be in D.C. during the summertime. Oh, they got air conditioning now, so they can make another excuse. We need to go visit constituents in which you never see them. Senate Intelligence Committee voted Tuesday to advance the nomination of Jay Clayton to be the next ODNI, sending the nomination to the full Senate for consideration. President Trump nominated Clayton, who was serving as the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, for his last at the time for his role last month. Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte has been acting ODNI. Tom Cotton, our senator from Arkansas, said Jay Clayton is a highly qualified nominee with the deep experience battling a wide range of national security threats. I'm pleased that the National Intelligence Committee had voted to advance the nomination to be the DNI. Once confirmed, I look forward to working with Mr. Clayton to keep Americans safe and continue reforming the ODNI. So to go along with that, Jamie McDonald was nominated to become the next U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, where Jay Clayton is currently serving at. I was supposed to find out who the U.S. Attorney was if that's already been gone through, or if they're still working at it, because in New York, both senators in New York are Democrats, right? So the chances are they're going to use their blue slip to prevent Jamie McDonald from remaining as the U.S. attorney there, right? But so this is a good thing. The go along with the caveat with this also is that the Section 702s from the National Security Code needs to be renewed as per Congress. They the president did not want to entertain it until this guy was confirmed it's going to happen, so they can work on national security deal, the Section 702s, right? I personally don't like it because it inhibits the freedoms of Americans. We just saw how the CIA or the NSA, one of the two, was collecting actual text messages and voicemails from congressmen, 44 of them, matter of fact, without authorization to be able to do it. This is uh, um, a stabbing at the heart of people with the United States Constitution. So I would just let it go. We can do our job without the Section 702s. It might make it a little bit harder, but you know what? We pay these guys hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to do the job. They can do that. All right. Hold it. Let me get back over here. Okay, I'm back. Mamdani. Mamdani broke. Oh, this was the other title I was considering using. He broke a campaign. Matter of fact, right before I published this morning, I actually put this in there. He broke another campaign promise, which Mamdani did. Mamdani insisted that he was going to have Bibi Netanyahu arrested if he landed in New York City, because in September and October, dozens of foreign presidents and prime ministers come to New York City to go to the United Nations to give a little speech, right? Every one of them does it, or even the American president does it, right? But if Bibi was going to show his face in New York City, Mamdani was he was going to have him arrested because the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for him. So he said, I'm going to execute it and turn him over to the Hague, right? The U.S. government does not acknowledge the authority of the ICC at all. And we refused to sign the Treaty of Rome in 2002 to bring that into power. It happens, it happens, it happens. But Mamdani said, well, he was going to do it. And then he was informed, no, he can't. And then he started playing Two-Face. So evidently, I don't know who his advisor is, but like I said earlier, I don't know who his advisor is, but they don't have a clue what they're talking about. It says right here, New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani acknowledged Tuesday that he can't have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrested, despite promising to do so during his mayoral campaign. But he called on the federal government to execute the International Criminal Court arrest warrant if the Israeli leader visits New York. Breaking news to Mr. Mamdani. We don't recognize the International Criminal Court. So why would we have him arrested for a court that we don't acknowledge that it even exists? You stupid man. That's all communists are stupid. So in a video posted to X, Mamdani called Netanyahu a war criminal, while conceding that the New York City could not enforce ICC warrant on its own. As I've seen, I agree with ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else who is charged by the ICC. So was Nasser Ali ever arrested and charged for the ICC? Was this whole series of Hamas leaders, right? Was Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran ever served an arrest warrant from the ICC? No, they weren't at all. But since Orange Man uh, is bad, and one of his friends is Bibi Netanyahu, evidently Bibi's bad person too, even though he's defending his country. 1,200 people is a lot of people to lose. My administration has reviewed every avenue under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce the warrant. The federal government, however, does. We don't recognize the authority of the ICC. Just get over it. You lied to the people that voted for you just to get their vote. So you're a liar, right? So Bibi can come here without any threat of recourse. Before I forget, there's one thing I meant to tell you for an announcement. Tomorrow morning, the whole JP8 report will be at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. because I'm going to the Governor Abbott's Governor's Small Business Forum in Coppers Cove. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm just going to do the whole JP8 report at 6 instead of doing the JP's morning brief, right? So the JP8 report will be tomorrow morning. I'll do it for an hour. Then I'm going to go to our Civic Center for the Governor's Small Business synopsis, what do they call it, right? Just so you know. And I will put this on X in a little while so it doesn't overlap a short or for a video that gets posted, all right? All right. So next is the oh my goodness. Hold on just a second here. Did I forget? Hold it. I did. Darlene Graham is co-sponsoring the Save America Act that's going before the Senate when the reconciliation bill gets up there. It was posted yesterday, I believe, on her X account. So just so you know, and filing period is still ongoing in South Carolina. I haven't heard anything different. I only know Ralph Norman and Darlene Graham are the only two that are filed for office so far. All right. So yesterday, the Oversight Committee in the House of Representatives spoke with the people with the Smithsonian Institution, and I have two things for that. I read one this morning, so I'll go back to it. This one's hilarious. What are we looking like on time? 8:48. So, our fire alarm just went off. That's the one that usually gives us a hard time. So there's no fires in our house. Don't worry about it. Okay. And it reset. Cool. So the director of the Smithsonian National Museum of American History faced pointed question. I'm sorry about that, guys. From House Republicans Tuesday over exhibits and materials they characterize as woke, including a display including Mickey Mouse to racism and a museum toolkit discussing objectivity as a feature of white supremacy. You can't make this up, people. Several Republican members questioned director Andrea Hardig about sexually explicit imagery in exhibits, including bondage, in the words of Chairman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Brandon Gill from Texas exchanges focus on America's most iconic childhood characters. Is Mickey Mouse racist? He asked her about 5 minutes through his questioning period. She replied, Mickey Mouse is not racist. Gill responded out by pointing out the Smithsonian Institute's exhibit that describes Steamboat Willie as representing vestiges of long-standing traditions of blackface minstrelsy. Would you describe that as racist? Gill pressed. Hartig began explaining the historical trajectory of Mickey Mouse before brief crosstalk. She then finished saying, he's rooted in minstrelsy. I have no idea what that word means. When Gill asked whether the purported racist overtones were problematic, Hartig responded that it is not her role to make that determination. And Gill also cited the Mass Action Toolkit, a mid-2010s anthology for museums that references the 2014 Ferguson, Missouri police shooting and subsequent Black Lives Matter protests, and asked Hartig whether it was important to be polite. Gill then cited passages from the toolkit discussing objectivity and politeness in relation to white supremacy culture. He asked Hartig whether the guide's characterization implied she was a white supremacist. He said, "Can you help me square why your organization says that being polite is part of being a white supremacist?" Gill added. Hartig replied she could not immediately recall that passage. Gill also asked Hartig about it is important to be objective. After Hartig angrily answered largely in the affirmative, Gill pointed to the toolkit's discussion of objectivity. In a 2017 copy of the toolkit available online stated that Jones and Okun also lists objectivity as characteristic of a white supremacy culture. This encompasses repressing emotions and decision-making or group process, thinking in a linear fashion, impatience with those who do not exhibit linear thinking is with thinking that does not appear logical. Man, I got about 5 minutes. I can take care of that noise. All right. And then quickly, Nancy Mace did the same thing. She asked the same lady, right? Do you believe that men can become women? And she answered Nancy Mace, "Ma'am, I'm the director of the museum. That is not relevant in this case." And Nancy Mace said, "It's very relevant. You got men dressed up as women, and you have them on displays in front of kids. Do you think men can become women? Yes or no?" And then Hartig didn't answer, and then began to discuss one of the drag queen displays at the museum. You sexualize the American History Museum, so it's fair. What is a woman? And looking down for a moment, Hartig responded, "We strive to represent and not characterize all Americans." Okay, I have another question for you, Mace continued. There's a glossary at the museum that informs visitors that while Americans' culture traditionally recognizes two genders, other countries recognize three or more. So enlighten me this morning. How many genders are there? And then she hesitated and said, "Ma'am, which glossary?" It just went on and on and on, right? The Democrats just make fools of themselves. They push people in areas where it's hard to fire them. And one of them said, well, you don't need to know all this. Why are you asking? But at the same time, we provide 62% of the funding for the Smithsonian museums. So the federal government gets a fair shot of what goes on with the Smithsonian museums, right? 8:55. Okay. Man. Federal appeals court yesterday pauses lower court ruling releasing immigrants into U.S. without hearing. There were 3 immigrants that were detained, and they sued the U.S. government because they said they should have been released. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals out of New Orleans told the lower court, yes, they have the right to be detained and be kept in facilities in Texas. Man, that's driving me nuts. I don't know if y'all hear it. I hear it. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals on Tuesday stayed the lower court rulings regarding the release of 3 illegals in the United States while the courts debate whether the men have a constitutional right for bondings. The unsigned order centers on 3 men in Texas who were arrested by state troopers between November 2025 and February 2026. The 3 men identified Ignacio Rodriguez, Miguel Gomez, Alfredo, and Alejandro Angel have been released back into the country after multiple courts blocked the Trump administration from holding migrants for more than 90 days without giving them. The latest order clears the way for the 3 men to be taken back into immigration custody, according to Bloomberg. Okay. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has issued an extraordinary procedural order making clear that illegal aliens do not have a constitutional right to roam free in the United States during the removal proceedings. That's true. That is true. Now they're off the streets in Texas, which is good. There was a GOP congressman that says he wasn't fully aware of everything that the president was covering on Thursday about election interference, and now he's fully aware of what happened, especially in terms of China itself, right? But that'll be covered tomorrow. It's 8:57. Hey, it's been a long morning. Hold on, let me tell you real quick. Let's see if I got a response back from the city yet. Trump promises to obliterate critical points if Iran demands aren't met. Wow. Some French modeling scout named 2,000 times in Epstein files found dead. Wow. Nothing from the city. Okay. They're going to try to play my game. All right, guys. It's 8:58. We are going to get ready to go to Dan Bongino. Got that set right there. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. Remember, no morning brief at 6:30, and the JP8 report will be moved down to 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. just for tomorrow, okay? I will see y'all then. I hope everybody has a great day. I'm going to initiate the raid so we can get going. Raid. Oh, you're welcome, Scott. I appreciate that. Okay, there we go. Dan Bongino is on his way in 8 seconds. I will catch y'all on the flip side. This is James Pierce with JP8 Report. I'm out.